here today. Simple reason is we're dissatisfied with the way the party is being run at present, so we're here to try and change that. Unfortunately, it's got to this now where we're having to form our own reform group to reform the party, because unfortunately the party won't listen to the people in here, which I think is a crying shame. We're a democratic party, or we're supposed to be, and I see many quality people in here today who've put their heart and souls into this party for years and years and years, and they're simply being ignored by the leadership, which is...
We are not happy with the way our party, because the party belongs to us. It's not the fiefdom and the kingdom of one person, one man. No matter how elevated that man thinks he is, it is our party. We all own a share. We've all put blood, guts and sweat into this party, and it's our party, and by God we'll take it back if anybody tries to steal it from us.
I'm not even really going to update you on where my case goes from here, because I'm not about to provide Nick Griffin with advance information that might assist him to find a legal loophole to wriggle through. He's quite good enough at that already. But just be assured that my case is still alive and well, and it's moving forward in the right direction, albeit slowly. But what I will do for the next 5 minutes or so is give you just a personal insight into my experience of him during this case, and hopefully some useful guidelines which might assist the next person, or anyone here present, in the unhappy event that they find themselves on the receiving end of Griffin World justice. Now, we all know that Nick Griffin is clever, although a truer, perhaps more definitive description would be cunning and crafty and manipulative. Nick Griffin knows very well the cost of legal representation. By God he should, because he spent plenty of your money on it. And he also knows that the longer he can drag out his defence, the more money it will cost the claimant, who normally pays by the hour, plus disbursements. So £150 is quite standard, quite modest actually, for a solicitor's time, £150 an hour. And you add to that the charge for every letter written, every phone call made, every form filled in, every journey made to court, and the costs soon mount up. Nick Griffin therefore calculates that the longer he can avoid and delay and frustrate and obfuscate, the more likely it is the claimant, paying ever-mounting costs, will simply give up in order to avoid incurring further personal expenditure. So the first and probably the most important guideline is to find a solicitor willing to act on a no-win, no-fee basis. Not because hell hath no fury like a woman's scorn, although I don't deny the veracity of that statement, but because Nick Griffin, I'm afraid, has to be taught the lesson that he cannot arbitrarily destroy people's livelihoods without consequence.
If anybody in here is in any doubt that this party needs reforming, well, you know, there's the speech that will hopefully make you think otherwise. You know, the party of honesty, the party of decency, the party standing up for our people and our women. Yeah, okay.
Unfortunately, the main party has not done as much with the internet as I think it could have done. It's a particularly interesting form of mass communication because it's got virtually zero marginal cost. So once we've got our servers set up and we've got our content, it doesn't really matter. Well, obviously you've got to allow for bandwidth. It doesn't matter whether we have 1 hit or 1 million hits. So it is a very powerful tool. The fact that it's multimedia means that it's a powerful tool to reach people and to start to win them over to our views.
Broadsword, basically there's some handouts over here which you can have a look at. It might surprise you to know that there's 6 broadsword people in this room at the moment. There are broadsword clubs in Essex, East Anglia and up towards Northumberland. So it's something that's already started, and it's a movement because each club has its own particular name. It's a movement that the authorities can't get hold of because they don't know where to start. And the whole point of this is, if you look at the Labour Party, they rely on the unions. Conservative Party with the Mandy Club. But they've all got non-political or apolitical social activities behind them. And if you get social with people, you get together, you get bonded together.
Griffin denouncing all and sundry as state agents in his booklet, Attempted Murder. If you look at Mr. Griffin's recent article, published on the party's website, entitled Sex Manipulation, Lies and Anti-Nationalist Subversion, he accuses, he implies that all those who supported, all those members of the party who sought to exercise their right under the party's constitution to support a leadership challenge by another challenger, were actually agents, paid agents of the state, of Searchlight, of the police. This man is an absolute disgrace. He has no evidence for these innuendos, these slanders, and yet he feels no compunction about effectively setting good, honest British nationalists at each other's throats, splitting the party down the middle. That's what he's done. That's what he did 20 years ago. That's what he's done today.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I stood as a candidate in the general election in the Windsor constituency, which isn't where I live. I didn't want to stand where I live. But where I stood, where I live, is Reigate Badstead, and at the last minute we were able to stand a candidate. Unfortunately, we were too late for the national leaflet. Now, no disrespect to Mark, who probably had something to do with it, but the content of the national leaflet was just appalling. Big picture of Griffin on the front, with Churchill behind, and on the other side, for all the candidates, tiny little picture of the candidate, and 3 or 4 bullet points which were pretty irrelevant to most of our electors. So fortunately, we were able to produce our own leaflet, and this is one side of it. It was a DL3, and it's got our 12 key policies. And my local branch has had policy, certainly in the last couple of years, of always putting those, not necessarily in that format, on our leaflets. Because our view is that the national press will not publicise what our policies are. We've become a benefit culture. This is partly because I think the benefits have been too generous. The welfare state was a great idea, but it's become abused. However, I don't think you can just blame people who don't want to work. For a lot of people who are unskilled, they can only get unskilled jobs. They are competing now with cheap labour coming in from abroad. And with the minimum wage being what it is, what is it, £5.25 an hour or something? Howard? Sorry?
£5.80.
£5.80. There you are. £5.80. You try and raise a family on that with 2 children, you can't do it. You have to rely on state benefits to do it. Now, there's a staggering figure I read in the press the other day, is that 1/3 of families rely on state benefits for over half their income. And when Labour came to power, immigration, I don't think this is net immigration, this immigration was 57,000 a year. Enough, wasn't it? More than enough. And the first thing the Labour Party did when it came to power, wasn't in its manifesto, was to abolish what was called the primary purpose rule. I think I've got that right, named that right. Now that was introduced by the Tories because they could see what was happening. You were getting lots of these arranged marriages where, is it always women that come to this country, or can it be either? Can be either. Right. It's marriages of convenience, but not kept in this country, but done deliberately to Pakistan or India. And the Tories saw that this was an abuse of the immigration, and so they brought in this primary purpose rule, which no doubt didn't stop it, but it certainly curtailed it. Labour abolished that within a matter of months of taking power. As I said, not in its manifesto. And so that the following year, immigration had gone from 57,000 to 190,000 a year. And so that immigration presumably is there bubbling along at the bottom.